8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundit Thavam. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe assured that around 100,000 metric tons of LP gas will be imported in the near future. The Thailand government has donated 10,000 eco vaccines for the benefit of kidney patients in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister also said the country has been placed at a massive cultivation footing under the theme Ekva Vavamu Rata Dinavamu, cultivate together and make the country victorious. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka is to organise credit aid conference with 3 main lending countries. Officials revealed that demand for liquor in Sri Lanka has decreased by about 30%. The Energy Minister says $34 million payment made for Furnace oil cargo. More than 30 of Sri Lanka's bondholders launched formal group for debt talks. In news overseas, Afghan earthquake, at least 1,000 people killed and 1,500 injured. And in sports, the Sri Lanka cricket team has brought a glimpse of a smile on the faces of the Sri Lankan fans who are undergoing many economic challenges at present. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe assured that around 100,000 metric tons of LP gas will be imported in the near future. This will be brought to Sri Lanka under the Indian credit line. The Indian officials will be here in a day or two to discuss this matter in detail, the Premier said. The US Treasury Department officials will also visit Sri Lanka on the 27th of this month to discuss the credit facilities. The Premier made these remarks while making a special statement in Parliament today. The Prime Minister also said the country has been placed on a massive cultivation footing under the theme Ekva Vavamu Rata Dinavamu, cultivate together and make the country victorious. The main objective of this exercise is to increase the food products and to avoid any shortage in the future. The farmers and all residents who have bare lands are encouraged to cultivate any variety of food crops as much as possible. The Premier made these remarks while replying to a question raised by parliamentarian the Venerable Athurelia Rattanathera. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the programme for a bailout package would be finalised by the end of July. The first in-person talks with the IMF on Sri Lanka's bailout request commenced in Colombo on Monday, June 20th, and is going on for 10 days. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe met with the visiting IMF delegates who arrived in the island for talks on a bailout programme as Sri Lanka is battling its worst financial crisis since independence in 1948. Quote, the only safe option before us now is to hold discussions with the International Monetary Fund. In fact, this is our only option. We must take this path, unquote, he stressed, delivering a special statement in Parliament today. He added that Sri Lanka has concluded the initial discussions with the IMF delegation and exchanged ideas on various sectors such as public finance, debt sustainability, stability of the banking sector and the social security network. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe also said the framework for Sri Lanka's debt restructuring is expected to be finalised by the end of July, following discussions with the financial and legal advisory firms Lazard Limited and Clifford Chance LLP. Representatives of Lazard and Clifford Chance are now in Sri Lanka to assist us in our debt restructuring efforts. The framework for debt repayment restructuring is being formulated. It was revealed at the Committee on Public Finance, COPF, that the demand for liquor has decreased by about 30% due to the recent increase in the price of liquor and the decrease in the income of the people of the country. This was revealed at a recent meeting of the Committee on Public Finance chaired by Member of Parliament Anura Priyadarshana. Officials representing several institutions were contacted online to discuss plans to increase government revenue and their current status. Accordingly, officials representing the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilisation and National Policies, the Inland Revenue Department, the Sri Lanka Excise Department and the Sri Lanka Customs were contacted online. The officials said that there were several problems in the Sri Lanka Excise Department reaching the target revenue due to the limited quantity of ethanol available for the production of liquor, limited number of diesel and fuel and the distribution problems. They also pointed out that the demand for alcohol has decreased by about 30% due to the increase in the price of alcohol and the economic hardships faced by the people. It was also stated that due to the sudden price hike, there is a tendency to increase the production of illicit liquor. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. More than 30 asset managers, including Sri Lanka's international bonds, announced on Tuesday the formal launch of a creditor group to start debt restructuring talks with the island nation, according to a statement from legal advisor White & Case LLC. Amundi Asset Management, BlackRock, HBK Capital Management, Morgan Stanley Investment Management and T. Rowe Price Associates Incorporation are among members of the group's steering committee, which has Rothschild & Company as a financial advisor. The group is broadly representative of Sri Lanka's bondholder base, both by type of institution and by geography, and holds bonds across each outstanding series, the statement added, though it did not specify the percentage of bonds it holds on the outstanding $12.6 billion overseas sovereign debt. The government of Thailand has donated 10,000 ego vaccines for the benefit of kidney patients in Sri Lanka. Thailand's Ambassador Pop and Paul has handed over the stocks to the Federal Director General of the Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, today. This will be distributed to the government hospitals' island-wide locations. And that concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Sri Lanka's Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that a payment of $34 million was made yesterday for a shipment of furnace oil, also known as HFO or heavy fuel oil. He said that the cargo will be unloaded today and will be used for power generation and industries. In a Twitter message, the minister further said that they intend to maintain the current 2.5-hour daily power cuts as it is until the Norachole power plant is connected back to the grid. A group of Chinese engineers are currently in Sri Lanka to carry out urgent maintenance work at the Norachole coal power plant, which is to be carried out 2 years ago but had to be postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The maintenance work is expected to take around 75 days, during which the national grid will not receive full power from the Norachole coal power plant, and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight, dengue fever is on the rise due to the onset of the monsoon rains. The most number of dengue patients have been detected in the western province. The Colombo and Gampaha districts have shown many patients identified in the recent past. The health authorities request the residents of Colombo and the suburbs to keep their home front clean. The schools in the western province are also advised to keep the premises clean. The health authorities are expected to make an inspection visit to these sites in the near future and came to you in Watchlight. On to world news and making headlines tonight. Afghan earthquake, at least 1,000 people killed and 1,500 injured. Saudi Crown Prince visits Turkey for the first time since Khashoggi murder. And the White House unveils plans to reduce nicotine in cigarettes. A powerful earthquake has killed at least 1,000 people and injured 1,500 in eastern Afghanistan, an official of the ruling Taliban told the BBC. Pictures showed landslides and ruined mud-built homes in the province of Paktika, where rescuers have been scrambling to treat the injured. The quake struck shortly after 1:30, that's 2100 hours GMT Tuesday, as people slept. Hundreds of homes are destroyed by the magnitude 6.1 event, which occurred at a depth of 51 kilometers or 32 miles. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince is visiting Turkey for the first time since the 2018 murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi in its Istanbul consulate. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will hold one-on-one talks with Mohammed bin Salman aimed at repairing a deep rift. Mr. Erdogan once directly accused the prince of ordering Saudi agents to kill Khashoggi. He denied any involvement. The amount of nicotine in cigarettes sold in the US is said to be reduced by minimal or non-addictive levels. The White House on Tuesday unveiled the plans which could dramatically reduce cancer deaths, a goal of President Joe Biden's administration. But the measure is likely to face opposition by the tobacco industry. Smoking remains the U.S.'s leading cause of death, accounting for 480,000 every year, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. And back to the headlines of the world news. Afghan earthquake, at least 1,000 people killed and 1,500 injured. Saudi Crown Prince visits Turkey for the first time since Khashoggi murder. And the White House unveils plans to reduce nicotine in cigarettes. That concludes this bulletin of world news, and on to development news. Plans are afoot to release PMB brand rice from the Paddy Marketing Board to the market next week. The Agriculture, Wildlife and Wildlife Conservation Minister Mahinda Amaravira yesterday instructed the PMB chairman Neil D'Alvis to supply rice from the paddy purchased from farmers by the board. Arrangements have been made to sell the rice under the brand name PMB rice below the maximum retail price, the minister said. Accordingly, PMB rice, manufactured and distributed by the Paddy Marketing Board, is scheduled to be sold to the public in Colombo next week. The rice will be distributed in 5 and 10 kilo bags, and came to you in development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The Sri Lanka cricket team has brought a glimpse of a smile on the faces of the Sri Lankan fans who are undergoing many economic challenges at present. Yesterday's thrilling win and the series win against Australia overshadowed sufferings and difficulties of the Sri Lankans. This entertainment has been a little consolation to their woes. The Sri Lankan cricket lovers flooded into the R. Premadasa Cricket Stadium in large numbers to see the exciting moments of the match, where Sri Lanka won by a narrow margin of 4 runs. Sri Lanka leads the match series 3-1, and the final ODI is scheduled to be played at the same venue on the 24th, Friday, as a day and night encounter. That's sports news. We look at business news next.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Luminex Limited delivered an exceptional financial performance for the financial year 2021-2022 by recording an impressive growth in profitability despite the prevailing market volatility and challenging external operating environment. Luminex reported a turnover of 3,121 million rupees for the financial year ended March 31st, 2022, up 22% from the rupees 2,554 million achieved in the previous year. The profit increased by 64% to reach 489 million rupees in 2022 compared to 299 million rupees in the previous year. The net profit ratio also increased from 12% in the previous year to 16% in the current year. Adjusted EPS has also increased from 1.81 per share to 2.94 per share. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
On to economic news. The US government announced a third tranche of new funding to address the immediate needs of people hardest hit by the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. This humanitarian assistance, totaling $5.75 million, will provide cash assistance, short-term jobs and agriculture supplies, such as seeds, directly to crisis-affected people to meet their basic needs. That's economic news, and on to the weather report. The Met Department says that several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Matara districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the Uva and eastern provinces during the afternoon or night. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather was cloudy with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature was observed to be around 29 degrees Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in the Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature would be around 26 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 28 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index AQI is 19, which is a fair air condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. And to conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe assured that around 100,000 metric tons of LP gas will be imported in the near future. The Thailand government has donated 10,000 ego vaccines for the benefit of kidney patients in Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister also said the country has been placed on a massive cultivation footing under the theme Ekva Vavamu Rata Dinavamu, cultivate together and make the country victorious. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka to organise credit aid conference with 3 main lending countries. Officials reveal that demand for liquor in Sri Lanka has decreased by about 30%. The Energy Minister says $34 million payment made for furnace oil cargo. More than 30 of Sri Lanka's bondholders launched formal group for debt talks. Afghan earthquake, at least 1,000 people killed and 1,500 injured. And the Sri Lankan cricket team has brought a glimpse of a smile on the faces of the Sri Lankan fans who are undergoing many challenges economically at present. And that concludes tonight's news broadcast.